is Desiree with theastrologyaddiction.com, and thank you so much for watching. Today's video is going to be on the July 2020 forecast and predictions. So I'll go over the month ahead and the transits that we'll be experiencing, some of the moons, and then I will discuss each zodiac sign and how this might affect your personal life and your personal chart. So if you would like a personalized reading, please listen for your sun, moon, and rising sign. I will be speaking mostly to the rising signs in my predictions, so just keep that in mind. And please let me know your feedback in the comments, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you're interested in booking a reading with me, my link is in the description box. So on July 1st, we have Mars is already in Aries. Mars has entered Aries on June 27th. So he'll be at 2 degrees of Aries on July 1st. Now this shows just collectively that there will be a spike of energy, ambition, aggression. You know, maybe there will be some more just fiery energy coming up as Mars has been through Pisces. Things have been a little bit nebulous, a little bit, you know, muddled. We haven't known where we're headed. So once Mars gets into Aries at the end of June, so this starts that just fiery energy. There may be some arguments that come up, fights, aggression. I would say even there could be some tensions between different countries, and this can end in, you know, Mars is physical, so there could be some physical things happening. There could even be some things with the earth. You know, when Mars is in Aries, there are fiery things that happen, you know, maybe volcanoes or just an uptick in, you know, natural phenomenons happening on earth. Chiron will also be square to Mercury retrograde on July 1st, and Chiron is in Aries at 9 degrees. Mercury will be retrograde in Cancer. So this is starting up some type of an old wound that we're learning more about, something that we as a collective, you know, need to address. Something is coming up that is painful, hurtful. It's an old wound that is just finally getting to kind of speak its truth, and we're hearing more about it. Now, also on July 1st, we have Saturn leaving Aquarius. So Saturn will be, it's been retrograde, and Saturn will go back into Capricorn. Now, this is a really big deal because we just got a taste of what Saturn and Aquarius is going to be over the last few months. It's shown us really like the beginning of the age of Aquarius, the revolt, the things that need restructuring, the things that need to be torn down, where we need to open our eyes and you know, wake up as a collective. So Saturn going back into Capricorn is telling us we still need to revisit some of these things. We need to regress back to things that we still have to deal with and learn about before we move into that Aquarian age, which will happen in 2021. Now on July 5th, we have the full moon in Capricorn. We also have Jupiter and Pluto really closely conjunct at 23 degrees of Capricorn as well. So, you know, the sun in Cancer, the feminine is hurt. The feminine is in pain. You know, the full moon wants to illuminate this pain even further. There is a culmination of this feminine just being upset, being frustrated, wanting change, and wanting the family to become important again. You know, we had the North Node in Cancer, which was all about focusing on family, focusing on security, safety, protection, and things have not felt very safe recently. So it's going to definitely illuminate that and make people have maybe a heightened level of anxiety. Maybe there's heightened risks that people are taking over this time frame that are, you know, causing pain and issues to their family. For example, with, you know, the COVID, if people are out and about, you know, and they're risking, you know, their elderly family members' health, or they're risking their children's health, things like that. This is being illuminated further. It's something that we can't hide from anymore. And there's a level of like chaos and just fear kind of underlying this with that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. Now on the 6th, we have Mars square Mercury. Mars is still in Aries. Mercury is still retrograde in Cancer. And this is both in cardinal signs. So there's going to be big news, big anger, agreements, disagreements, fights even on a global level between governments. You know, Mercury is all about news. Mars is about the physical reaction. So we're hearing about some news. We're learning things. We're just becoming more angry as that happens. And there's something that, you know, we need to take action to at this time. And we also have Mercury going direct in Cancer. So this is a big day. We're actually, this tension is causing more clarity, and it's causing more understanding. And we're finding out what we have been, you know, lied to about, or what we, you know, who's been deceiving us, what the real truth is at this time. On the 14th, we have the moon conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So Uranus in Taurus is all about some agricultural changes, financial changes. Anything that is comfortable for us is really being tested and kind of shattered. You know, there's a lot of things that we're learning. So with the moon there can be a lot of uncertainty, anxiety, tension even, especially in regards to like agriculture. I would say that this time we could maybe find out some news about certain food processing industries that are having some trouble, I would say. On this day, we also have the Sun in Cancer opposite Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn. So this further illuminates any injustices that have been happening, especially government, corporations, financial collapses. This can even intensify something like that. We might see a increase in that, especially with that moon conjunct Uranus. That really brings up a unstable energy. So there is a lot going on at this time, and there may be a further, crash that we hear about. There could even be some shocking news. It could be something like another incentive that we hear about that, yes, it's a gift of like money from the government or something, but maybe it's not going to be the solution long term. It's just a kind of a band-aid. Now on the 15th, we have Mars conjunct Chiron in Aries. So this is really digging in that same wound that we started to feel on the 1st. So there could be a wound culturally, it could be racially, there could be something going on, continuing of that story where there is a real aggressive act being taken either towards hurting this wound further or, trying to heal this wound, trying to get revenge. This is a really large kind of aspect that you would see with revenge or people who want to take revenge. So Mars conjunct Chiron. Now on the 17th, we have a little bit of more peace. We have kind of a peaceful weekend that we're going to have, which is really nice. The moon will be conjunct Venus in Gemini. So it's a great weekend to go on a date with someone, get reconnected with your family, see someone you haven't seen in a little while, because there's a real need for that emotional connection. Emotional just connectivity and romance even. So that's a great weekend for that. We do on the 20th have Sun opposite Saturn and the new moon in Cancer. So this brings up a new start. It's a Monday. We are seeing maybe a new direction that we have to go, a new obligation, a new duty, a new responsibility that we have to step into and kind of embrace. And that new moon in Cancer really brings that around like the area of family and around protection and security. So what do I have to do? What responsibilities do I have to uphold? How do I have to live my life differently to protect myself and my family? Now, the rest of that week is pretty quiet. On the 26th, we have Mercury square Mars again, and that brings in it's more of a clarified fight, because I think before when we had Mars square Mercury on the 6th, that was, Mercury was still retrograde. So there was still a lot of deceit there. There was still like, we're fighting about the lies. We're fighting about wanting to find out the truth. Now on the 26th, Mercury is direct. So we're finding things that are true. We are clear about the direction that we want to go and the argument that we want to have, the fight we need to have, or something along those lines. On the same day, we have Venus square to Neptune, which is another huge transit collectively for us. That even brings in a level of seeing what you want to see. So even though that Mercury is direct and maybe this fight that we have is more clear, or something we've been dealing with is kind of coming to a resolution and there's going to be a big bang happen, whatever it might be, we still have a level of not being able to see everything. So while there is this clarity with Mercury being direct square to Mars, this big kind of blow up, like a bang, just a large fight on a larger scale, we still have this Venus square to Neptune. Venus is in Gemini, Neptune is in Pisces, which is still not completely, clear. Whether it's in a relationship that we have, it's definitely more in the realm of like love, romance, peace, harmony. With this, I would say that there is some, Mercury bringing that clear news, Mars wanting to take action to fight, Venus feeling like, wow, my love life is kind of falling apart. The peace that I thought that I had is not real, and again, getting that like shock of reality with Venus square Neptune, because Venus and Neptune, they want peace, they want harmony, they want to get along, they want to do things really well together. And this sort of brings in that, no, like the truth isn't going to allow that for much longer. So you need to just make sure that you're, having those realizations of what is reality and where are we going from here. So that is the transits for the month on a collective level. So keep watching if you'd like to hear how it will affect each zodiac sign. For your Aries and Aries rising, this is going to be important because Mars will be in your first house. So this is going to be definitely a challenging few months for you, kind of portion of your life, because you're having that Mars really affecting you physically. You might have some kind of physical ailments that you're dealing with, some pain, some mental pain that you might be having. The first house is your physical body. So when Mars is there, it's really testing you. Maybe you are training for something physically. Maybe you have recently, became a little more unhappy with your physical body. This could be kind of a furthering of like that pain that you're feeling, or of that just not feeling quite good enough for whatever reason it might be. We also have the Jupiter Pluto conjunction in your 10th house, Capricorn rising. So there can be some challenges that you're faced with, definitely around career, public image, how people see you. The full moon in Capricorn on the 5th of July illuminates that. So you might hear some news or kind of have a sort of culmination of something that you've been working on publicly that's coming to fruition. But it's really kind of a balance between your home life and what you want, in an everyday basis versus what you're doing for your career. Like, is this career path that I'm on really conducive to the home life that I want and, the physical health that I need to really prioritize right now, since that Mars is in your first house, Chiron's in the first house. So there's going to be definitely kind of a fight and a challenge going on within those areas of your life. Now on the 12th, Mercury goes direct in your 4th house. So there may be some news that you're hearing about, maybe a move that you've been thinking about, relocation, something to do with your home. Maybe you're buying a home. Maybe you are deciding of, what's your next step in your home life. There could even be an obligation that you hear some news about to your family. Maybe you've been helping them in some way and you hear something, it could be unsettling. It could be maybe a deceit that you've been dealing with, or something coming to light. Now on the 20th, we also have the new moon in Cancer, and the sun is opposite to Saturn. So you are also at this time having a big decision again regarding your career and your home life. Now this is just the main theme for you for July. There is something that you are obligated to do, a responsibility that you have to remain, to uphold your public image, but there is some maybe deeper pain, deeper feelings, and kind of responsibility that you have to your family and to your home life. Now the 26th, Mercury will square Mars again. Venus squares Neptune. This is going to bring up an issue maybe with your health that you're hearing about, because Mercury is in your 4th house. Mars is going to be in your 1st house of Aries. So there is some type of news maybe with, in regards to your physical body, like what is something that you need to do? What's something that you've been maybe neglecting? Do you have to go to the hospital? Is there an issue you have to have addressed? And there can be some news about that coming up. Now with the Venus square to Neptune, that's from your 3rd house to your 12th house. So there could be some maybe mental issues, some unconscious things that come up for you in regards to relationships. Since it's in the 3rd house, it could have to do with siblings. There could be a, obligation that you have to your siblings that you're kind of starting to understand a little bit better. Maybe you have to make a choice, but I wouldn't say this is the best time to do that, because there is still some delusion happening here, especially kind of coming from your unconscious in that 12th house with Neptune. You may feel very ready to make a change, maybe ready to get into a relationship, but you definitely want to be cautious of who you're letting in around this time, because not everyone, has the best of intentions. Now for Taurus rising, you have Mars going into your 12th house. So you can have a spike in your unconscious things kind of coming up for you right now. Maybe there is some fear, anxiety, uncertainty. Even, in your dream realm, there can be some, you can have some fearful dreams, some scary dreams, aggressive things that, that you're starting to deal with. Saturn's also going back into your 9th house. So there may be something that you have to decide regarding your foreign travels, maybe even higher education. You need to make a decision. Are you going to enroll in this study program? Are you going to plan this trip? there is just something that you need to reevaluate that you maybe have put on hold for a while. It's time to kind of dig that up now and start to work through it again. And we also have the moon conjunct Uranus on the 14th in Taurus. So this for you brings in some emotional uncertainty, and it can have to do with kind of your next steps in life. You know, the first house is your body, your physical nature. Having the moon and Uranus there brings in a level of shock. So you might have something like a big move coming up, or even just some clarity about how, you know, you want to move forward with taking care of your health. You know, are you needing to quit certain substances or junk food, wine, you know, alcohol? There's just something coming to light right now that you're maybe at an emotional point of like exhaustion, or there's just some shocking news that you have to reevaluate about yourself. And it doesn't have to be just physical. It can be, you know, something you're realizing about how you project yourself, because that first house is our first impression. So you may be wanting to reevaluate your style, your, you know, just how you present yourself to the world and how people receive you. That first impression, there may be something that you're wanting to do maybe with your hair at that time. I could see this month being just a month for change for you on the physical level. Now the new moon in Cancer on the 20th shows that you might have some kind of a duty that you're starting to understand in regards to your neighborhood, your siblings, just really that, like, you know, that sibling kind of unit that you might have. I don't know if you would be a only child, but if you have siblings, there may be something going on with them even right now that they need your support with. So it's a good time to, you know, reach out and just see if they, you know, need any help with anything, if there's anything you can do, maybe even fixing a wound that you have with them or a relationship that you have with them, something that's kind of pushed you two apart. You and your siblings apart. It's a good time to revisit that and try to heal some of those things. Now for Gemini rising, you have Mars going through your 11th house of friends and groups, alliances, wishes. So there could be some challenges that you're having or facing with friends. Maybe you've been arguing with them, or there's been some unrest going on between you. There could be some disagreements in some groups that you're involved in about the money or about, you know, obligations that you have, who's doing more work, if it's, you know, if things are fair. That could all be something that you're definitely dealing with this month. Now Saturn's going back into your 8th house of Capricorn, so there's definitely a chance for some things that are more painful that you've had to deal with over the last, you know, year or so that are coming up that you need to revisit and re-deal with and work through. Maybe it has to do with death. Maybe you have some tax issues that you have been putting off that really need to be addressed. It could even have to do with maybe an that you have to someone you love. It could be a romantic thing that you're dealing with that is continuing to bring up some type of a struggle for you and an obligation that you're not ready to let go yet. And the full moon in Capricorn on the 5th will definitely illuminate that for you. There may be some intensification with maybe money that you've owed, maybe money that you are, you know, using from someone else. Maybe they've borrowed you money. You know, 8th house is other people's money as well. So there can be just something that you are culminating from that. Maybe you have borrowed a lump sum of money and it's time that that's due. Maybe you are, something that you've been working on might be even falling apart, or it's time that you're, you know, you have to learn how to rebuild it in a new way. There could definitely also be some big news that you're dealing with because on the 6th we have Mars square to Mercury, and Mercury will be in your second house. And again, Mars is in that 11th house. So this can have to do again with money. I think that you're facing a lot of choices, decisions, and maybe even some frustrations with how you earn a living, how you make your money, you know, and how you take care of yourself. And it can be maybe putting a wedge between your friendships or groups that you're involved in. It can be some type of an issue along those lines. We have the new moon in Cancer on the 20th, so that shows that you have an opportunity on the 20th to maybe make some money, or an opportunity to kind of change the story that you've been working with other people's money. You can choose to take on maybe a new responsibility that you're able to earn a living from, and it's all sort of being offered to you at this time. So you could get a new job offer potentially, or a new opportunity. Maybe someone comes into your life at this time who you can work with to make some money. Now on the 20th, we have Mercury squaring Mars again, so this could be maybe a fight or disagreement again regarding your income, your money. It could even have to do with things that you own, maybe possessions. Maybe you are having a car repoed, or you're having even to make a new decision with a purchase. There can be some type of a purchase that you have to make, a big decision you have to make by the end of the month that is really causing you a lot of stress and even fear. On the 26th, you also have Venus still in your first house of Gemini, so that is also a good thing. You are, feeling more self-confident, you're feeling more self-assured, but since it's squaring that Neptune in your 10th house, there is still some challenges with maybe deception, delusion, uncertainty about where you want to go with your career and with your public image. That 10th house is how people see you, so there can be some type of a, not really seeing things very clear because you don't have the, maybe there's just something that your job is even keeping from you, like a secret. They're holding something back. They're not telling you, when you're going to be able to go back to work or how long they're going to keep you for. So there's just a lot of uncertainty going on here, but you need to hold fast to that reassurance that's Venus is in your first house, where you can get through anything. No matter what they throw at you, you're going to be okay on the other side. Now, as far as Cancer rising goes, Aries will be in your 10th house, so you will have definitely some issues, maybe fights, arguments with authority figures, potentially bosses. In your public image, you could have some type of a, when they say like someone's getting canceled, it's really like there is an aggressor coming for you in your, in your career or your public life in some way. You might have someone who's trying to say something bad about you, especially, since Mercury is going to square Mars on July 6th. Mercury will be in your first house, squaring Mars in the 10th house. So there could be something about you, something you've done, a way you've behaved that is coming and, affecting your public image in some way. Now, in your 7th house of relationships, you're having Saturn go back into Capricorn. So that is going to cause you to have some, reevaluation of relationships that you're in, maybe a marriage that you're in. It can cause, either a more like intensified bond or a breakup, I would say, maybe a divorce. There's going to be a review that's going to, have to be done in the realms of relationship and marriage. And especially on July 5th, when we have the full moon in Capricorn, that is illuminating and kind of culminating a relationship that you've been involved in, or maybe a new relationship that you're starting, and there is a need to want to commit or want to, further your obligation to someone. Now, Mars is squaring Mercury on the 6th, which brings some, big news for you in the realm of career, as Mars is, still in your 10th house. So there can be someone who comes to you personally, or some, a news, mail that you get about your job or about an opportunity that you're going to have. It's usually going to be more of a frustrating, not so happy type of news, but I would expect that around July 6th. Now, the Sun will be squaring Neptune on the 12th, and that's going to cause some delusion, and I would say this might play out for you in those relationships. If you have a relationship that you're involved in, there may be some type of a, you might be seeing like rose-colored glasses, at a person that you're with and seeing just the good things about them. But Mercury is also going direct. So in your first house, there is going to be more clarity about what you want and about what you value and what you need to be respected. So you're definitely getting more clarity about what you want, what you need to do to move forward. But at the same time, there is still some fogginess about maybe coming from someone else that you're involved with. So being careful of that delusion. We have Venus square to Neptune on the 26th, and that can certainly intensify that and make it even, more of a chance for someone to deceive you. Or, you might think that things are going really well, and then you kind of get smacked in the face with like, oh wait, no, this person is actually lying to me or they've done me wrong in some way. This can even affect your public image. So if you and this person have any type of a working relationship together, it can definitely affect that since Mars is still in your 10th house. Now for Leo rising, I could see this being a month where there's some challenges that you're facing in regards to travel or higher education. Mars is going to be in your 9th house. So if you are, waiting to make a decision on school, university, some type of a study program, there could be some real pressure, anger, frustration, and fear maybe in regards to that choice. There can also be some confusion. Maybe you're hearing some news about things that aren't, going quite as planned, or things aren't playing out as you had planned them to be. And it comes also from that Mercury that's going to be in Cancer in your 12th house. So there can be some unconscious fears, frustrations, and even anxiety that you're feeling about these things. Maybe you even had a foreign, trip planned to a foreign country, somewhere abroad that you aren't able to go to. A lot of people do travel in the summertime. They have these big trips planned, and it can be really frustrating. And I could see you maybe having some news coming about something regarding that, especially on the 6th when we have Mars square to Mercury. You're definitely being faced with some challenges and frustrations from the unconscious. Now Mercury goes direct on the 12th, and that will be in your 12th house. So around that time, you should start to feel a little bit more peaceful, have some clarity about this situation. And I think that maybe you will need to actually make that decision by then. If you can hold off to make any decisions until the 12th, that would be best, because making decisions while Mercury is retrograde, you can find yourself regretting those things, or even just not agreeing with the decision you made during that time because of some other factors that have arisen since then. Now you have Saturn actually going into your 6th house, retrograding back into Capricorn. So you can have some obligations and duties and even responsibilities in your daily life that are starting to come up for you again. There can be some things you need to review. Maybe you're needing to regress and kind of go back to things that you had dealt with in the past. In regards to even your health, 6th house has to do with your health, your daily habits. So you have a lot of reevaluating to do in that area, and maybe some responsibilities that you have to tie up some loose ends regarding. Now on the 17th, the moon will be conjunct to Venus in your 11th house. So I think this is a weekend that you might have a nice connection with some friends or a group that you're involved in. You'll definitely feel more, wanting to connect with people and wanting to get out there and just have some fun. So that's a good weekend to maybe plan something with a close friend or, even a romantic partner. Now you are on the 26th having Venus square to Neptune. This is going to be in your 11th and your 8th house. So this is a challenging aspect. Certainly, I think you might have some deception going on. Maybe people are hiding things from you in your friend groups. There could be some secrets that are coming out from your friends or acquaintances, organizations that you're involved in that are being brought to light. And it could even be that they have been deceiving you, or that you've been involved in something that has not been as clear as you had, it's not what you signed up for. Maybe the responsibilities are not what you signed up for, and it's causing you even some mental, trouble or trauma. And it could even be something where you maybe got involved in like a financial situation with someone owes you money, maybe you owe someone money, and there's just nothing like is coming to light as you had thought. Maybe some kind of a debt is owed, or you have to pay something, and there's just, maybe you don't have the ability to do that right now, or they don't have the ability to pay you back. So it's just important to keep those open lines of communication, because everyone's going to be in a kind of heightened level of just anxiety and fear right now. So being cautious of that. So you could definitely have some arguments and fights with friends, but this can also affect your money and your resources, because your 8th house is, other people's money. So this can have to do with people you're involved with. Even there could be some type of challenges that maybe you are faced with them. Maybe it's a business partner or a spouse. Maybe they are, involved in some type of a business venture that you are helping them with. So you have some pressure here to maybe learn about it, or to learn about how to better, merge your finances with one another. You also have Aquarius going back into the 5th house, so this can have to do with children. You might have some responsibilities that come up with children. Maybe you are, taking care of some children during the summer. Maybe you're, getting pregnant potentially, or dealing with your own children. There is just something that is kind of building up here that will culminate around January of 2021. So just to keep an eye on that long-term transit. You also have the full moon in Capricorn on July 5th. So this will also just intensify that. There is something that you are learning about. There is kind of a culmination of energy in that 5th house. So it's maybe, you're deepening a relationship with a child in your life, or you are, deepening a relationship with one of your children. Maybe you are about to bring a child into the world, or you are just further connecting with your own children. And it also shows that you're kind of realizing the importance of family, because it's going to be opposite to the sun in Cancer. And Cancer for you is the 11th house, but it will also show just the importance of your family unit, the security and the safety of working, together with your family to make, a peaceful home environment for you and for your children, if you have children. This could also be something that maybe you're working with children in your career in some way. Maybe you are involved in some groups that help children, some nonprofit groups, or you're volunteering in some kind of a way. You'll also have a Mercury going direct in Cancer again on the 12th. Now this could be you further understanding a wish or a dream that you have. The 11th house also has to do with dreams and goals and wishes. So you could get some clarity on the direction that you want to move. Maybe a dream of yours is coming true, or you are working to make this dream happen. So you should have some clarity on that on the 12th. Although you do have that clarity of Mercury moving forward and, being comfortable signing contracts, being comfortable making commitments, you also want to be really cautious and make sure that you're looking at things very clearly and from a grounded perspective. Now you have Mars conjunct Chiron on the 15th in your 8th house. So this can be maybe a lesson or an argument that you have with someone over mutual finances. Maybe you and someone that that you share finances with, or that you are working on a business partnership with. You're disagreeing about how to move forward or how to continue with this opportunity that you guys have, invested money in. Because Chiron brings about a wound or a pain that we have. So there can be something kind of underlying in a circumstance that you're dealing with that still needs to be, healed and worked through. And it can really be in your relationships, your marriages, any of those things where you are really mutually connected financially. Now you have the sun opposite to Saturn, and Saturn again is in your 5th house. So this is showing that you have a duty and a responsibility maybe to a child in your life, or a child organization that you are helping with, maybe in your career or something like that, or that you are, learning new responsibility in some way regarding children. The new moon in Cancer is also on that day, so it's further starting a new chapter in your life that has to do with family and home, and just, having a safe, secure home life that is really conducive to what you need to do, conducive, to the life that you want to have and that you envision and that you dream of, being as the moon is in that 11th house of hopes and dreams. Now for Libra rising, you have Mars in your 7th house, which shows that you are going to have some fights, maybe some disagreements, arguments in your marriage partnerships or your business partnerships. There can be some, deception even when Mars squares Mercury, and that can show through maybe your public image. Maybe someone has done something that has really caused pain for you, or has caused some wounds for you that people can see publicly. People are understanding, wow, this person might really be going through something this month. So the full moon in Capricorn is on your IC, but it's opposite to that angle of the MC, which is your public image. So there is some, challenges, maybe some power struggles that you're feeling with a coworker, with your boss, or your career path that you're on. You might not be fully, getting along with someone very well in your career life. There could be a fight with a boss, or even just a struggle between what you want in your home life and what you're doing for your career. There could be kind of an argument there between what you think you should be doing and what your heart really wants in your home life. There could also be some big news on the 6th. There is something in your relationships again. Maybe someone is, a marriage partner could be being deceitful, or could be even just disagreeing, having a harder time with you. You guys aren't on the same page. So it's definitely good to just try to keep things as clear as possible and as calm as possible right now, because that Mars in the 7th house can cause some aggression with that marriage partner. You also might find out some new news about your home life around the 20th, when there is the new moon in Cancer. You're starting something new at this time. You're starting a new journey in your home, and you might be learning these new things to make choices of how you want to build your life, how you want to have your home, how you want to decorate, who you want in your life, and who you want to live with. These are all big decisions that you might be making this month. There could be definitely another fight around the 26th, potentially with your marriage partner or with someone that you live with in your home, as Mercury is in the 4th house of home. And it just shows that there might be at this time, you might have dealt with something earlier in the month that caused sort of this tiff and this fight to start happening and building up. But by the 26th, it's going to really become more of an issue. And there can even be some more aggression at that point that you have to deal with. Now for Scorpio and Scorpio rising, you have Mars going into your 6th house. So this is going to be a challenge for you, I think, physically this month. There might be something that you are dealing with physically in your health. Maybe you are even getting some more energy to work out and to get in shape. There's something really motivating you that is kind of speeding this up. So you're going to maybe have some weight loss or have some fiery, things happening. If you feel any type of inflammation or any type of uncomfortable that kind of make you more worried, definitely get to the hospital to have those checked out. There may even be also some big news coming around the 5th, when the full moon in Capricorn happens. This is probably regarding your siblings. We have all of these planets in Capricorn. The Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is still very strong. So there could be something that your siblings are dealing with that, maybe you need to turn your focus to, see if they need any help, if they need any guidance. But this could also show that you're going through a really big, learning period of your life, where you're growing a lot and you are learning a lot of new things that you haven't, known how to deal with before. You didn't know how to do these things before. You're just having a time where you are kind of soaking up knowledge, especially since the sun is opposite to that in Cancer in your 9th house. This can be higher education, or it can be, maybe you're taking over some kind of a company, or you're taking over some family business since it's in the 3rd house. It could be like you're working with your siblings and you are just learning a exponential amount of knowledge that can probably help you financially down the road. There might also be some big news about your health potentially on the 6th. We go from the 6th house to the 9th house where Mercury is. So, it could be something regarding like foreign travel, if you've had a trip planned, or if you are planning to go somewhere. Maybe you have had to change that because of something that you're dealing with regards to your health or your physical body, or even your daily routine. There could be something going on with your work schedule and your daily habits that you have to attend to and kind of change plans and change the way of action about how to proceed with it. Now we also have the moon conjunct to Venus in your 8th house in Gemini. This is happening on the 17th, so this is a good time for you to discuss maybe mutual finances with a marriage partner or a business partner that you are working with. A good time to kind of nail down some ideas with them, or to kind of start to get the process rolling with maybe how you want to merge finances in some kind of a way, or something that you want to invest in. This is also a good time to do that because Mercury has went direct on the 12th of July. So after that, you'll have, by the 17th, that would be a good time for you to start maybe signing those contracts or getting to work with that. Now we also have Mercury square to Mars again on the 26th. So this is going to be another issue maybe regarding your health or your workout routine. Maybe there's going to be something that comes up where you really have to focus more on that. Maybe go to a doctor, get something checked out, or maybe you've just kind of pushed your limits physically, like in the gym. If you got that burst of energy at the beginning of the month, kind of time to slow it down now by the end of the month. Now for your Sagittarius rising, we have Saturn going into your 2nd house. So this is going to be a new issue that you're having to deal with regarding how you earn a living, your possessions, your material possessions, and how you make your money. This can be something from the past that is coming up that you really have to deal with. Maybe you have this debt that's due, or you have something that really needs to be paid and attended to at this time, that's actually starting on July 1st. And it will go until the end of the year. So you have some time where this is coming back up. You know, it's something that needs to be reviewed, needs to be addressed and looked into a little bit further. We have the full moon in Capricorn on July 5th with Jupiter and Pluto conjunct. So this even more, intensifies that. There's a lot of things that you're dealing with financially. Maybe it is blessings and bonuses financially, or someone is, taking care of you. But there's also sort of a need for you to understand that it is like other people's money that you're working with, because that sun is opposite to the full moon in Cancer in your 8th house. So, understanding like the value of other people's money in your life and having to humble yourself in a way because of the agreement maybe that you've made with that person in regards to finances and possessions. We also have Aries, Mars in your 5th house of children in Aries. So this shows that you have a lot of activity going on in that area. It can be even, fights or arguments with your children, or you maybe have some new children in your life that you're dealing with, and it's causing a lot of activity for you right there, and potentially even some furthering of that dependency on other people's money, because it's going to, Mercury is going to be squaring Mars on July 6th. So there is some level of the importance of other people's money in your life that ties into your children in some way. Now the moon and Venus are going to be conjunct in Gemini on the 17th, which is great for your love life and for your marriage partners, as Gemini is your 7th house. So that shows that you and your maybe relationship partner or marriage partner can have a nice date weekend, have some romance, have some emotional connection, maybe that has been missing, over the last few weeks. So that's going to be a great weekend for you, July 17th. Now on the 20th, we have the sun opposite to Saturn. Again, Saturn is in that 2nd house of yours of money and finances and possessions. So you might be learning some new news about maybe a restriction that you have regarding money, something that you're dealing with that maybe you're not able to spend the money that you thought you would be able to. Maybe you're not earning as much money as you thought you would be. And there is a new rule that you're starting to have to abide by. Now Venus is square to Neptune on the 26th, so that is from your 7th house of marriages to your 4th house of home. So there can be a little bit of potentially like delusion or things that are not being completely clear maybe from your marriage partner. There could be some lies, deception. Maybe the person is just not showing you who they truly are at this time, and you have to really dial in and focus on that and try to understand, the real meaning of what is going on. Are you just seeing what you want to see from this person that you're in a relationship with, or are you looking deeper and not just so concerned with, oh, this is a peaceful relationship, that's all that matters, but is this overall really where I want to be and what I want to be doing with my life in this relationship. Now for your Capricorn rising, you will be having Mars in your 4th house of home, and so this can cause some trouble for you maybe in the home life. Maybe there's some frustration going on for you with people that you live with, some fights, some deception. Mercury squares Mars on the 6th, and that will come from your 7th house to your 4th house. So that can be a fight with your marriage partner, maybe about the home, about what where you're moving, where you're going to live. There can be some big decisions going on about where you want to make your home, or where you want to be with your family and with your marriage partner. We also have a full moon in Capricorn on the 5th with Pluto and Jupiter conjunct. This can definitely show that there is something new that you're learning about yourself and that you're having a lot of self-growth. Pluto and Jupiter bring exponential growth, and it can be, it can highlight things that are negative or positive. So if you have some things about yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, just anything, self-work that you're doing right now, if there's something that you need to focus more on, now is going to be the time around July 5th where you will have that maybe epiphany about what you need to work on within yourself a little bit more. Now Mercury goes direct in Cancer on the 12th, so that will be in your 7th house. So there will be some clarity coming for you in regards to relationship around that time, and marriages maybe, and this can show that maybe there was some deceit going on, or there was some things that were just going wrong for you potentially, and even like miscommunication with your marriage partner around this time, but by the 12th, most of that should have cleared up. Things should be, you know, out on the table for you and your partner to deal with in an honest and direct way. Now on the 20th, we have the Sun in Cancer opposite Saturn in Capricorn. So again, this is really focused on your self-improvement and your relationship with your partner. Your partner can have something that they need you to do, maybe a duty, responsibility, or a job or something of the sort, where you have to really kind of buckle down and get to work for them. And they can be putting some pressure on you as well, because maybe they need you to take on a new project. On the 20th, we also have a new moon in Cancer, so they can start to have new opportunities themselves, and so they are putting more pressure on you to do your part or to do your role within the relationship, whatever that might be. Now we also have Mercury squared to Mars on the 26th, which brings up a bit of a fight between you and your marriage partner. There can be a disagreement, an argument, some news that's coming up about something that you have been, you know, working with them on or dealing with them through, and it can further just cause some tension between you two, some yelling, some arguments. So you really just want to try to be a little more sensitive during that time by the end of July, and make sure that you're, again, communicating really clearly and concise. Now Aquarius rising, so we have Saturn actually leaving your first house, which it's been in for the last couple of months, and going back into your 12th house. So you're having some unconscious emotional things that are coming up for you. You might have to start to work through those again. There may have been, you know, 2019 may have been a bad year for you. You were like, let's get to 2020, I can't wait. And of course 2020 has its issues as well, but you're starting to go back from maybe real like identity issues that you're dealing with at this time back into more of the unconscious, and starting to have to review those things, maybe review things from 2019 that have happened that need to really be, you know, the chapters need to be closed up. It can be something regarding your health, it can be regarding mental health. Oh, I can see this even being a relationship that kind of needs to have closure in some way. We also still have Jupiter and Pluto in your 12th house, of course, and the full moon in Capricorn on the 5th, which illuminates that. You know, Saturn's going back there and the full moon is there, so you have some things unconsciously that need to be dealt with. It's time to get into a meditation class, maybe to go see a healer, maybe go even see just a doctor to kind of help you figure out what's right. You know, do you need to get on some type of a medication? Do you need to get on a plan, like a fitness plan, or a you know, a plan where you're working with some type of a healer in some way to sort of, you know, dig up these unconscious things that you maybe don't want to face right now, but that you need to face to move on to the next chapter of your life. You will also have Mars in your 3rd house. There can be some challenges, or maybe some things going wrong for you in regards to like transportation, maybe with your siblings or your neighbors. There can be some fights that are starting to go on or that arise with those people. 3rd house is also transportation, so there can be some heightened level of energy in that area. Maybe you're going on short distance trips this month, or you have just more energy in that area this month. On the 6th, we have Mars square to Mercury again, so there's also some big news going on there. And again, that's from your 3rd house to Cancer in your 6th house, so that can be something to do with your health and with your daily habits. Maybe you are getting a new job, or you're getting some type of a new routine that you're starting, and there can be some anxiety or some fear associated with that. It could even be a new job that you have to start. Now on the 17th, the moon and Venus are conjunct in Gemini, which is your 5th house. So this is a good time for you to, you know, have like a date with your children, if you have any kids, or with your siblings, you know, anyone that you need to emotionally connect with. This is going to be a good weekend for that, where you can have some fun and romance. In the 5th house definitely shows that it can be like a romance partner or someone that you are, you know, wanting to get more intimate with. So I could see that coming for you by the 17th, a new love partner, you know, a new romance coming in your life. Now by the 26th, you want to be a little bit cautious of that, because that can show that maybe this romance is not quite what you expected it to be. You know, there's like a veil of kind of what you want to see out of this partnership, and that this person, maybe they are very romantic, very fun, outgoing. You guys have, you know, a lot of laughs and a really great time together, but kind of coming back down to earth, like, is this something that really will work in the reality-based realm? You know, is this going to be something that will last for the long term? Now for Pisces rising, we have Mars going into Aries on June 27th. So that will enter your second house, which brings a lot of challenges for you financially. You might have some, maybe you have more heightened energy there. Maybe you're working more, you're back to work, or you could be going through a job change. You could be going through learning how to maybe deal with having less money, or there could be some type of kind of just an issue that you're starting to have to deal with in regards to your finances and your possessions. Maybe you're having to sell some items that you maybe didn't want to, just to make some money and to help your family in some way. You also might be hearing some news by July 6th about something that you have to spend your money on. Maybe it is someone in your life. It could be a child, someone you're helping, but it's in the 5th house. So it could be a romantic partner, it could be a child, it could be an organization that you're working with even. Mars square to Mercury brings some big news, maybe some aggression or some frustration. So there will be definitely some challenges for you regarding finances this month. Mercury does go direct on the 12th in Cancer, which is in your 5th house. So you will have more clarity about whatever this decision is at that time. And hopefully, you know, the money issues will start to ease up for you a little bit. The Moon and Venus are conjunct on the 17th of July. So this brings a lot of positivity for you in the area of your home life. This would be a great weekend to do some reorganizing, maybe some decorating, shopping for your home, and just to spend some really good time at home with loved ones. Maybe even invite some friends over that you haven't seen in a while. We have a new moon in Cancer on the 20th, which definitely, again, heightens that need to be at home some more. Maybe you're getting the opportunity to work from home, or maybe you are starting to learn how to, you know, maybe run your own business from home. It has to do, again, with maybe a duty and an obligation that you have to yourself and to your financial health. You know, there's something that you're being faced with that you have to make that decision about. Now we still have Neptune in your 1st house. It's been there for quite some time. On the 26th, it's going to actually square Venus, which will be in your 4th house. So this can be sort of a false confidence that you have in yourself, and you want to make sure that you are staying very grounded around this time, that you're weighing all your options really well, because how you're seeing maybe yourself and what you're doing is not quite maybe how other people are seeing you right now. There is sort of a kind of illusion that you're having to overcome, and it can be something in your home life, or it can be just with yourself. You know, maybe you are dealing with a relationship with someone you live with, and they are, you know, wanting you to work on something of yourself, but you're not really seeing it as that. You know, you're seeing it as they have these issues, they need to work on that themselves. But you know, it's good to kind of keep that communication really open and clear, so that there isn't a big blow up and a big fight. And this can have to do with money. You know, maybe you live with someone and they're like, stop buying this, stop doing this, take a break from spending money, like we need to save, or, you know, something along those lines, and you're not really seeing it as that. You're seeing it as, you know, we have all an abundance right now, everything's fine. But it's good to just kind of hear the other person out, so that there's not a big blowout and a big fight by the end of the month, because that can definitely stir up for you around money and finances. So that is my July forecast and predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know your feedback below, like this video, and if you'd like to book a reading with me, my link is in the description box. Have a great day. Bye.